Has JPMorgan been manipulating the silver market, and what could this mean for the future price of the metal? Hello, I'm David Jones from Capital.com, and I thought this time around when it comes to our silver update, we take a slightly different angle because news broke this week that the US Justice Department is charging 3 former employees of the giant US investment bank JPMorgan with manipulating the price of silver. I'm going to talk about this in a bit more detail in a couple of minutes' time. First of all, we're going to jump on the platform and take a look at just what's been going on with silver. As usual, if you're watching this and you're not subscribing, make sure you're subscribed, support the channel, and we carry on pushing out content like this. But let's get into these charges in a minute. But first of all, let's catch up because silver has been pretty volatile over the last few months. Let's just take a quick look at what's been going on with silver over the longer term. You've got to go back to, 2011. Price of silver peaked about $50 an ounce. And since then, you can see the story has been one of just pretty much continual decline. However, in recent months, we've seen a lot of activity, sharp move upwards. Let's just take a quick look at that. So here's the move that started in May this year, pushing silver up to almost $20 an ounce. That's the best levels we've seen for the price of silver since September 2016, so pretty much a 3-year high. If we zoom in and focus on this trend, you can see that trend is still pretty much intact. Clearly the price accelerated during July, massive move from 15 up towards $19.60. We have seen the price come under pressure since then. Again, perhaps not too surprising considering the size of the move. But overall, I'm going to talk about support and resistance levels in a bit more detail. But we do have, pockets of support still below the price of silver. So it's going to remain a really interesting market to watch. So let's get back to those charges levied against JPMorgan. So 3 who are now former employees of the bank, including the former head of precious metals trading, have been accused of manipulating the market. And they're accused of doing this via what's known as spoofing. So putting in false orders in the market, and that's something that's not allowed. It's alleged that this went on from 2008 to 2016 and resulted in many millions of dollars for the US investment bank. So the federal prosecutors are carrying out this charge under RICO. Now, RICO may be something you're familiar with. It's maybe better known as something that's used when prosecuting drug cartels and organised crime. It's the Racketeer, Influenced and Corrupt Organisations Act, and the US prosecutor is saying it's perfectly fine and this is a sensible application of RICO against JPMorgan. The accused have come back and said they've denied any wrongdoing. We'll see, of course, how this case progresses. In addition to this, JPMorgan is also facing a class action lawsuit for allegedly manipulating silver futures markets over recent years. So it's still early days, clearly, for these allegations, and I'm sure it's a story that will get plenty of coverage in the months ahead. But let's talk a bit more about JPMorgan's activity in the silver market. Over the years, it's been widely reported that the US bank has been steadily increasing its stockpiles of silver, with some say, maybe they're looking tongue-in-cheek to corner the market in the precious metal. But JPMorgan does have the largest silver position in financial history. Something like, it was reported, about 140 million ounces of silver by about May 2018. If we take a look at all the physical silver in vaults around the world, more than half of that is owned by JPMorgan. So again, this is a position it's built up over the years. So perhaps the easy knee-jerk reaction to this is, well, JPMorgan are buying silver, maybe I should be buying as well. However, it should be said, the price of silver peaked back in 2011 at $50 an ounce. Just last year, the price touched $14 an ounce. So for many years, JPMorgan have been, you would think, underwater on their position in silver. They've been buying clearly significant amounts, but the price has still been slipping. Not surprisingly, there's speculation as to why they've been building up this position. A classic use of silver, just like gold, is against a hedge against global uncertainty and economic slowdown. There are certainly worries about that at the moment. Just this week, we've seen the US central bank, the Federal Reserve, reduce its interest rate there. And that's a traditional move by central banks when they're worried about perhaps disruption to their economies in the months ahead. They do it as a way to try and stimulate economic activity. So again, there are some warning signs, plus the trade wars, about the state of the global economy. So that is something that could well lift silver. But it did see a 20% rise during August. We have seen something of a sharp sell-off in the price since then. So for traders, just to wrap things up, let's look at the big levels to watch in the months ahead. So I think $20 an ounce is clearly a big psychological level for silver, big round number. The more absolute level, the highs hit during the summer, around about $19.65 an ounce for silver. On the way down, we have seen the odd rally. So far, it's turned out to be something of a dead cat bounce. But one of the levels left on the way back down, the most immediate resistance level, is up around about $18.50 an ounce. When it comes to potential support levels to watch, if you see the price under a bit more pressure for here, I think it's all about looking at the levels, the lows we saw as it was moving higher over the summer. So I think the really big level, $16.50, that August low. And after that, let's look back to July, back to $14.85. I think overall, the trend for silver is still up, but it remains under some pressure. As usual, we'll come back and update this in the weeks ahead. We'll start wrapping things up there, but to never miss out on our content, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you click the alarm bell notification thing down there, you get a notification off YouTube every time we upload new content. But from me, David Jones and Capital.com, we'll wrap up this update on silver and what's been going on with these allegations against JPMorgan. Good luck with your trading.